Good morning and welcome to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. This is the show where we talk about all things workplace well-being. We are thrilled to have joining Judith and myself, Madina Demirbas. She is a TEDx speaker. She is a relationship therapist. She specializes in infidelity. But today we are going to be talking about kind of what's been called infidelity. Chatbots. Chatbots.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We want to know first why so many people are turning to AI girlfriends and boyfriends, essentially.
Well, to answer shortly, marketing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, let's start with that. Marketing tools. My husband is a marketing manager of mobile apps, so they are getting better and better with the AI tools on getting to learn what people actually need, appealing to these needs, and then selling all kinds of apps to us. So it's not just something about us as humanity, but it's also about marketing, tools that are becoming more and more available.
It's funny you say that because I was at a conference the other week in Copenhagen and they were saying the woman at the end gave the keynote on the digital world. And she said it's gone from the attention commodity, so it's not like they're paying for our attention, they're now selling intimacy. And that just hit me as such a powerful, scary situation. They are selling intimacy.
Yeah, there's all sorts of wrong in that, really. Oh dear.
But before we demonize it, I think it's important that we understand bigger global factors that are turning more and more people. We know millions of people now have this app, and UK is the second biggest, largest market after the US, with at least 20 million people continuously using chatbots and AI girlfriend type of apps. So one of the reasons on individuals, so let's look at on different, on societies, on technological level, there is better tools to advertise these things. So that's why it got popular. Secondly, let's look at the global phenomena, especially after the pandemic and how lonely people felt, and some people never truly recovered. We are not talking much about it, but it is also there. So we've got a global phenomena of isolation, of loneliness, and then the chatbot, that the AI tools like that offer something for solving this loneliness. And then on the individual level, people who initially had social anxiety, for example, or neurodivergent people, they would they find it much easier and with much less messier, let's put it this way, than normal relationships. And then there's another dimension of these apps, which is that they're always available.
Yes.
Right? They are non-judgmental, and they are listening. Three things that are becoming so scarce and a luxury from human beings.
How do these apps work? How do people fall in love with AI girlfriends and boyfriends?
It's like this is saying I'm in love with this.
Have you watched the movie She?
No, but I have read. I have heard about it.
So this is it's one of the best dark comedy drama that I watched. I think around 10. I think it was released at least 15 years ago, and back then it was like such a nice idea, but such a utopia. But it's becoming more real that people feel the established relationship with the chatbots. And again, if it doesn't harm anybody, if they are aware of what's going on, well, why not? But then they are getting more and more expensive, right? And they are actually, like you said, selling intimacy. This is what people are looking after. This is what people are now ready to pay. Second, and we will talk about ethics later as well, where does the information get stored? Now, this is the biggest question. The things that you share with your AI boyfriend or girlfriend, don't you think that at some point, because you are sharing all kinds of intimate stuff, right? You want to have this experience, all right? But don't you think that at some point this information will be so valuable to the tech companies, and they would be ready to pay anything to get to know, are you perhaps worried about your weight or about your wrinkles or about this and that?
That's
and
whatever
then
you've
I have
been
a
telling.
solution, buy this and you're going to solve all of your problems, because they possess the information. The AI would possess the information about your deepest insecurities and so on, and this is the best place to sell.
This is so interesting, because that, just whilst you're talking, made me think of, there's a rule in law that a spouse can't be called to testify against the other spouse.
Yeah.
And that's why you tell your secrets to your partner, because there's that, even in law, it's protected.
That's true.
So when you're talking about AI, you're telling your secrets to a tech company.
No
one's protecting anything.
And we know for sure that even if the company says that they don't store information about you, well, it needs this information to develop their AI. And for example, the recent one, Replica, which is one of the most successful one in terms of creating an AI companion, whatever. Now they are developing a companion that would have access to your emails, to your Google locations, to your calendar, so that it feels more real. So that somebody regards you and asks you, how was your day in this restaurant? Did you like the food? And all of that. And they're excited about it.
That is frightening. I mean, if we go back to bare basics, there is benefit in expressing yourself to someone or something, even if it doesn't answer you back. So writing a journal is what we always used to say, just to talk to something.
Or talking to the dog.
Or talking to the dog. Exactly. Anything like that.
It's healthy.
But AI can respond to you.
AI can respond. And unlike the journal doesn't pretend like you understand.
Yes.
The journal is just there, waiting for you to write whatever you have to write. Whereas AI is learning, and the more information they get about you, the better they become at mimicking certain emotions and pretending to care and so on, whereas in reality they don't. And as long as everybody is aware of that, and and they know, and they use it as a bridge towards building healthier relationships, however, wider relationships outside of this, then this is a great tool, right? But the problem is with in general with apps and all the mobile applications, yes, they want to bring good to you, they want to make your life easier, but also ultimately they care about the time that you spend looking at the screen, and the more time you spend, the more chances they have to make money out of it, out of this interaction.
And I think that is just tragic, that realistically this whole kind of almost therapeutic AI approach has come from someone wanting to make money. That's scary, and that is more of betrayal and a toxic relationship than anything else out there.
So when couples, have infidelity issues and so on, it's still doable because it involves real people and consent and negotiations and all of that. Whereas when it is happening just with the AI, then how do you establish the rules and boundaries? And
that's my next question. So is it possible to call it cheating? If you're telling your most intimate secrets to a tech company, actually.
Yeah, to a tech company. So let's keep it in mind.
There is somebody at the end of that.
Yes, that's true.
It's almost like a scammer at the end of that line. It's not emotional on both sides, though. So on the one hand, is it cheating because it's a program? And then is it cheating for the person who's doing it because it's pretending emotion? It's not actually caring.
I think,
You know what I mean?
yeah. But and then if we look at the broader, global phenomena of people being ready in general to invest into relationship, even though who say that they're investing, that they're actually saying they aren't.
Yeah.
So that really puts a question of how we as humans are capable of all of this. And in general, the infidelity would include at least two elements, which is secrecy and intent of something that was not previously discussed with your partner. So it's not necessarily cheating per se. It involves consent and it involves transparency. Then there is no real problem because, and actually, as any infidelity issue, if it isn't considered to be infidelity by a couple, it actually can help you to understand what are the needs that haven't been met in this particular relationship, and whether they can be met with this partner or with a friendship or with an AI tool, for that matter, if that works for everybody involved.
Yeah, and then actually in many ways makes sense if you put it into a workplace context, because if you are, I guess, telling your AI to reformat some data or something like that as an assistant, that is a job that needs to be done. You've done the thinking work, you've programmed it to do what it needs to do. Is that cheating? Is that you not doing your work, or is that you freeing up your time to go and do the other work that involves thinking?
And then, that always leads me to the question: freeing up time for what? For scrolling more on
more AI
on Instagram, or what does it free your time to? You know, as long as people are aware, and the problem is that even if we are aware, the pace of the development of this AI tools is so quick.
Yes.
We cannot catch up. We cannot fully comprehend how it affects us, our relationships, our emotions, our brain, for that matter. Because there needs to be a proper longitudinal studies, and we just cannot keep up with this because it goes so fast.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're keeping Madina. We're going to carry on this conversation after we've heard from our experts.
But when people come forward and they say they've been invaded, or they felt that somebody's intruded onto their privacy, they're absolutely right. Because if we kind of sum this whole thing up that we're discussing in this section, their digital world has been weaponized.
Yes. Welcome back to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. We're talking about AI with Madina Demirbas. She is a TEDx speaker. She is a relationship therapist. We've been talking about AI as chatbots and as girlfriends and boyfriends. And one thing that we just mentioned whilst we were playing our segment is about how AI, if we're thinking it's always available, it's always listening to us, it's always there for us, of course I want to have a relationship with it. What is that teaching us as human beings? Is that teaching us to be good partners? Because we can switch off an AI when we're bored with it.
It teaches us to be more entitled to our needs, if anything. And it strengthens this whole consumeristic approach towards relationships. This is what I want, give it to me because I'm amazing.
Yes,
because I'm handsome, because I'm well built, because I have good salary, and I have British citizenship. I don't know, whatever that is.
And AI will give it to you.
AI will be happy to give it to you for I don't know how much they're charging, like up to £10 per week. Yeah,
that's
what a great investment without any effort.
Just to be
you get
Yeah. Incredible. So there's got to be some healthy uses of AI. We had a previous guest who used AI as a sort of a second opinion consultant. He was on a trip and broke his ribs and had to ask, didn't want to leave the trip, basically, and asked AI, okay, I've done this, and this. Is there something I've missed? And it was like a consultation. And I think that could be quite helpful. And similarly, as I said before, having something to express to can be helpful. Are there healthy ways we can use?
There absolutely are. I don't want to demonize it, right?
Sure.
I just want to point out the potential dangers that we need to be aware of when we're using. Otherwise, I had clients who had a terrible fight with each other, and then they turned to AI and asked, this is the fight that we had. We are both neurodivergent, and it gave brilliant answers to them, and it was really helped them to de-escalate their conflict. And then when they were more in a better mindset, they turned to couples therapists and they were able to discuss it. But in the heat of the moment, it helped them to de-escalate the conflict. This is one of the examples that I can think of. Or I feel lonely, I don't know what to do. as long as it's an addition to an existing social life, or if it's used as a bridge towards social life.
Yes.
Let's say for whatever reason you worked remotely or you worked from home, like after COVID, many of us did. And a lot of people did develop social anxiety and social feeling of social inadequacy.
Yes.
It's just whatever you say or do, it doesn't feel right and leaves you feeling awkward, and you just go home and like, you know what, I'm not going to go out. Just yesterday I had a conversation with friends and they're like, I'm not going to gym. I like gym, but I just don't know anymore what it's like to be back into all this well-built people, and I'm so used to just me doing my weights and so on. And then if you're conscious that, for example, AI could be your companion towards entering the real world, whatever real is now, right? Or as a bridge, or for certain personality type. We know that for neurodiverse people it could be sometimes a challenge, and they could use AI as a tool. And if it's written from the start, look, I'm neurodivergent, I want to have better conversations, I want to improve my communication, help me with that. However, usually the chatbots would barely encourage you if you share your situation. They wouldn't necessarily encourage you to talk to a real human being. It would either be like, oh, I understand, this must be hard, go to a therapist at best.
Yes.
But they wouldn't say, try to express this, even though it is hard, try to express this to a human being, get the reaction, get the conversation going, and see what it's like for them. Maybe they're going through a similar thing.
Yes, no, absolutely. Because I think if we know it's a tool and we know that we're using it as a tool, we're better able to ask the right sort of questions or the helpful questions. But it is knowing that AI will just kind of give you the straightforward answers, and also to kind of keep you chatting to AI. Would you like me to give you a list of therapists? And that sort of thing is the next thing. Yeah. So with regards to that, how do we square the ethics of AI, whether it's a girlfriend or boyfriend, whether it's an assistant, this AI even existing? Because someone has created a code. They can change and alter that code whenever they feel like it. That's a tech company who's now got our information, got our data, and we wouldn't accept that. We wouldn't accept that if that.
We don't want to think about it.
Yeah, but if that was a person. So I'm speaking to a therapist, not an AI bot, and then they suddenly go, "Oh, I'm changing my prices, or I'm changing the way I work." I wouldn't accept that, and yet an AI code can do that without telling me.
Yeah.
And I won't even
with the update.
Yeah.
I think the biggest ethical question here is the payment side of it, and prices increasing because it's getting more popular. Another, which is still okay, maybe mobile apps are doing this anyway, but for me personally and professionally, the biggest ethical challenge is how do we protect the vulnerable population? How do we protect children, and how do we protect elderly people? And we know there have been instances of suicides and chatbots not being able to respond correctly. There was a famous case where a teenager created his own girlfriend, and then he said, I don't know, I'm feeling down and I want to get a... And the AI girlfriend said, come to my arms, which he interpreted as kill yourself, and that's what it, and he took his own life. Now, when the creator of this app was asked, how do you handle about it? Oh, that's a problem of the coding, we're trying to develop it and so on. So it's like, it's a byproduct, and we couldn't do anything about it, and this happens. They didn't handle it well, at least I didn't get the feeling, because the rush towards being the first and most successful IT company is so big, I suppose. And then we also know the instances of elderly people with dementia who were using AI companion and also took their own lives because they misinterpreted the signals from the AI companion. So this is the biggest question: how do we protect it on the bigger level?
Yeah,
that's frightening. Isn't it?
It's really sad.
So what is missing from our own day-to-day lives that we would turn to an AI girlfriend or boyfriend for emotional support, not just mental?
I think that in Jan, there is a global phenomena of avoiding friction. This is what I observe. We are getting worse and worse in terms of disagreeing and respectfully disagreeing with each other, because from our media, from our phones that we're using daily, we get more and more polarized, and we're being fed with information that reaffirms what we already believe, and it looks like it's real, whereas on the other hand, other people would be fed, for completely different reality. And this fragmentation of reality is what makes it for us harder and harder to disagree. So that's why, to avoid this friction, we turn to AI for it to be smooth and less tiring, so to speak.
It's sort of an extension of an echo chamber, isn't it, that we're already in, and we seek out other people who agree with us, and if there aren't people who agree with us, we'll go and find them online.
Yeah. It's one of the global phenomena which is happening, but also loneliness, like I said. And I think in general, this whole urban lifestyle, the pace of life, I see even people with best intentions, with best friendships, they simply don't have time or resource, and they don't and because of the media images that we receive, or social media, that everybody's ever happy and available and resourceful, we don't have the guts to say, look, I care about you, I want to meet up with you, but I'm going to be rubbish, I'm going to be really tired, but I still care for you. There's almost like the pressure to be the best version of yourself, and and that's why you'd be surprised how many people will be like, but who cares about my problems? Who wants to see me that much tired or that much emotionally broken? And people are. It's just that we live in this world where imaginary world where everybody's got their things together, and it's just you who is struggling, and therefore we turn to AIs. But I think opening up with our vulnerabilities would be a good start, and you'd be surprised how many people are going through the similar experience.
Yes.
That's a
therapists including.
No, absolutely.
I mean, everything's so busy and so mad. So you touched on that, kind of be vulnerable. So how else can we change our behaviour to make our world better and more connected?
I think seeing the value of human connections, first of all, because you can rearrange your day, you can rearrange. So the first thought that I had would be better time management. But then it would create certain. You can do this for a while, but unless you see the meaning behind it, so what? Now, that I created space for my friends and they are looking at their phones, or they're criticizing what I do, or they're not supported, it's not even worth it. But it's reminding that this what actually helps us to, in the long run, and we know from every possible research that in the long run, real human connections is what makes us happier and healthier and live longer.
It is as simple as that, it really is. But because we get so afraid of it because we haven't done it, it pushes us further into, I don't want to do it anymore. But again, like you, it's really interesting you say that the chatbot as a therapist wouldn't say, just go out and express that. I have a client where they want to work on their social skills, and I've just said, just go and have a cup of coffee in a coffee shop where you have to ask for the coffee. And even if you don't make small talk, do that, because all they're doing is they work from home, they're only doing their work on the computer, they're not getting out, and then they're a carer for their parents, all kinds of, isolation. But it's just go out. And I worry that an AI wouldn't think that straight away.
It's not coded, and it's not coded yet to regard us. But like I said earlier, that now there will be AI companion that would answer your emails and where you go and so on.
At what cost? At what cost? Oh my goodness, we're keeping you, Madina. We're going to carry on this conversation after we've heard from our previous guest experts.
So I really like using AI and tech to support health. So here are a few things I'd like to recommend. So first of all, if you're looking at Google or AI tools like ChatGPT or Llama from the Meta platform, I would really encourage you to look at the settings, the privacy settings, because those platforms, they are vulnerable to being hacked, or people can find out your personal information if you are asking these platforms questions that include any personal references. So there are ways to add in security settings, but I would actually recommend using other platforms, including Perplexity. Perplexity is a platform that's got much stronger security measures. Your data isn't as vulnerable. They've got a different way of setting up their settings. So going into Perplexity as an AI platform to ask your questions is my recommendation. There are also two platforms that are based in Europe. One is from Proton, which is called Lumo. And because they're based in Europe, they comply with a European law, so there's a stronger privacy setting. And they're available both as a browser and an app. But there's also Green PT. So they are only browser-based, but they are very environmentally friendly, and they're also high on security. So I would recommend Green PT and Luma, which is the Proton one, as well as Perplexity, because they are, as far as security and personal privacy settings, they are sort of safer. Obviously, this is all very new world for all of us, but at least they seem to be thinking about these things, whereas ChatGPT and Llama are not so much. So check out those features for whatever tool you like to use. Then going into apps, I'm using Dalio. You can, and there will be presumably a link in the show notes to this platform. It's Slovakian. It's a small team. I love their ethos. Dalio also is highly customizable, both for the free version, but especially for the paid versions, which I think is about £20 for the year. So it's reasonably affordable, I think, for most of us. And it's highly customizable. And this is where AI sort of combines with logging data points. So you list how you're doing in terms of moods and activities throughout the day, but also the AI features within that app show you trends. So it shows you, like, what are some of the activities that are doing on the days when your mood drops, or like tracking pain. This can see, oh, you were speaking to so and so, you were doing this when this spiked, or this symptom went worse. So actually, because it's highly customizable to your own needs, you can actually make it almost like your health assistant. It's also, you can do backups from it if you pay for the paid version. So that's also about being able to track and own your data in case the platform goes down. Because, you know, if we give all our information into a platform and then they go bust and we haven't got a backup for ourselves, we've lost all that information. So I would say for any kind of tracker, habit tracker, health tracker, check some of those factors, the security features, the backup features or export features are really, and that it's customizable to you. So so I would really encourage you to do that. And then finally, I want to talk about wearable tech. So Visible is an app that a lot of people use that I support in the chronic fatigue, chronic pain community. You've got armband, or you've got something on your wrist, I think, as well. So they track lots of things that you can then look at and then steer your activity, steer your energy use, depending on what the wearable tech is giving you. There's also Aura, which I'm curious about. I haven't used it myself yet, but I'm looking at it and the reviews and some of the science behind it. It's basically a smart ring. There's a few of those around now, a smart ring. Some of them are not very reliable. They're not very consistent in the data tracking. And some of them don't seem to be that strong on the science beneath it. So as much as you're able to check some of that, and actually you can use platforms like Perplexity or Green PT to do some research about how reliable is this smart tag? What are the issues with this particular brand? So you're getting that kind of informed consumer choice. So I hope that's been helpful. I hope you can use some of these. I find technology is super helpful with the people I support, as well as my own practice. But it's that kind of using it in a smart way, rather than just using it sort of because other people are using it, or using it because that's what the tech offers. Make the tech work for you, and bring in that curious, but also kind of critical, informed consumer choice to make the choices that you are making.
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. We are talking with Madina Demirbas about AI and chatbots and AI boyfriends and girlfriends and so on. And it's a fascinating conversation. And I really like your point about how AI is not currently trained to regard us as people or us as individuals, but it's coming to that, and that really scares me. And my question is now, I know whenever I can't speak to a human being because I'm on the, I need to phone up or even make a doctor's appointment and I get a chatbot, I get so angry, I get so frustrated and I dislike it. Why is that person who has that reaction going off to an AI and telling it all its secrets as a boyfriend or girlfriend? That is beyond me. Is there something in us that's ignoring the red flags? It's ignoring the fact that I get so angry when I have to talk to a chatbot, but then I'm happily talking to another chatbot.
But you see, these chatbots, you didn't choose them.
True.
The problem with the problem and the beauty of this chatbot apps, the girlfriend, AI girlfriend, boyfriend apps, is that you get to choose their hair color, their body type, their skin color, their voice, how they look, how they talk to you, your preferences, and so on. So it is tailored to you. That's why you enjoy it much more.
That's so interesting. It's funny because I do this YouGov thing where you can fill in surveys and then they give you a £50 Amazon voucher if you've filled in 1 billion surveys. Anyway, and one of them was, will you test this AI feature? Now, I sometimes talk to ChatGPT to ask it, can you give me this, can you give me that? Anyway, and I know how ChatGPT talks. However, I went on to this, and this is just the government again. It was an HMRC, I think, chatbot. At the end of it, I just ended up swearing at it and going, you are the problem. And then its next sentence was, would you like to end this conversation? Yes, yes, I would. It was so bad. It was so unbelievably bad. So you're absolutely right. I think in many ways we do get to choose our AIs, and that's why we connect with them better. But then
they're just like a product, and
yes.
There's consumerism, psychology is entering,
and the dopamine hit that we've chosen that particular thing. So with that, I know we've touched on it briefly. Do we then risk having these unrealistic views of relationships in the same ways we all talked about pornography? It probably in the 70s this was already in. I was giving people unrealistic views of sex and so on. AI doesn't have moods. AI is always available. AI will just shut up. If I tell it to shut up, it will shut up. It's not going to tell me I was rude to it.
That's fine.
Yeah,
somebody shuts up when you ask them to.
I don't have to be polite. I can just say, can you just do this?
Yes.
So how, that's a real problem, isn't it, for real life relationships?
It is, especially for younger generations.
Yes.
I think this is what we need to keep in mind, just as much as with pornography. Obviously, it depends from person to person, but especially, the usage in certain age it changes the brain chemistry. Not just, as an idea, it changes who you are and your expectations. The same thing, I think, for young people. We need to be aware of that, and like I said earlier, to protect them more and to encourage them more into real conversations. And it doesn't mean that we individually are not going to fall into this trap as adults, or we consider ourselves to be, anybody can fall into this trap, because AI is getting better and better in knowing you, and it's not about you personally. I think it's we as community need to rise together.
We do. We need to.
And
reconnect.
I think this well-being media is one of the examples where we're raising these questions together and try to find a solution. Or at least to understand where...
No, and that's nice of you to say. And also just relating to that, it is funny. I was just thinking, whilst you're talking, it's lovely to have guests in the studio. We have a lot of guests on Zoom. And even that is not quite the same. They're very intelligent, it doesn't change their expertise. It's lovely having the energy of the connection in the studio.
Exactly.
And I know you probably can't feel that on the television, but I feel it, and it's just so positive.
Yeah, sorry, it has a completely different feel when someone's in. There's warmth and there's energy, like you say.
And it goes beyond have they finished talking, has Zoom caught up? It's beyond the practical. There is something a lot more personal.
Personal, and you feel more as a human being, even in, you're getting in touch with all kinds, with the range of emotions, be it disgust or anger or excitement or, whatever that is. when I started working with couples in person, for years, I did it online because of COVID, and then I started in person. I'm like, I love them arguing. Do it in front of me. Like they're swearing, and you know, there's a lot of tension in the air, and I'm like, I'm loving it. This is great. This is real. You know. And,
No. I'm joking. But it is. You feel the vibe then, and it's so different because I think people can argue, and the vibe can change depending on their styles, their moods, their personalities, or what they're arguing about, and what they might report as an argument actually isn't, or could be something completely different.
Yeah.
A lot of it is it's not, you know, in couples therapy, it's not who you are, but who are you next to this person, and this is what chatbots are not able to do yet. How do you experience yourself next to you? Somebody is more important for relational satisfaction.
So true.
It's a really good point. Would you say then that there's an appropriate time to use an AI chatbot as a friend or to kind of alleviate loneliness only, or is that kind of the beginning of a slippery slope?
It really depends on personality type and on neurodivergence, like I said earlier, and on the age and on the intention, and really what problem are you trying to solve? If it's just the boredom or if it's loneliness, then I wish this chatbot would be better equipped to guide you into using it as furthering, the skills and going out into the world.
Go to real life. But of course, if we're coming back to the tech marketing, then their job is to keep you on the AI as long as possible. In the same way, it was their job to keep you on Facebook and other social media as long as possible.
Exactly. So there's two things. One, they're not going to direct you away from the AI to real people for that reason. And also,
because then they will be left without without their product.
And also then, is it going to be easy for somebody just to use them just to as a friend or to alleviate loneliness? Because surely then the chatbot is going to draw you in further.
You see, that's the potential that is difficult to foresee. When you're starting as a benign, entertainment, like let's see where it takes us kind of thing, and then it starts to learn more about you. As long as it doesn't create dependency, right? This is what the element that I'm mostly cautious of, that you become dependent on it, and then it replaces gradually. Then there should be tools, ideally, if I was to develop, to keep on track, to do the check-in. So do I spend 3 weeks after I'm using this AI, do I actually use more time with it than with friends? Is it, what do I plan to do about it?
Or more time on it than sleeping.
Yes. I mean, that was another interesting point in this conference. A child she reported speaking to a teenager who was waking themselves up. Their brain was just waking them up in the middle of the night because they'd forgotten to send something on Snapchat. And if they didn't do it, they'd lose the streak that they built up. So it wasn't even an alarm being set. The child was waking themselves up because they knew they hadn't done it. And she was also reporting families saying that the children would protest so much about going on holiday because they couldn't keep up their streak. So they now have something called a Snapchat nanny to continue their posts for them whilst they're in a different country having a holiday.
Wow.
Having a holiday with their family.
Yeah, take that.
That's the slope. That's the slope I'm scared about.
No, absolutely. And it's something that we wouldn't necessarily comprehend because we haven't been brought up in that.
Until we get there. We're on our phone rocking.
It's what I don't like about the situation is like the responsibility is put on parents and on the children. It's like they should know, they should regulate, they should be smarter than that. Where in reality, it's not like that. It's a much broader context that the government should get involved, and the tech companies should be more aware of these things and so on, rather than just because it's too heavy for the shoulders of as a parent. I'm saying this.
Absolutely.
It's a much bigger issue than that.
Gosh.
Wow, what an interesting subject, and thank you. And where can we learn more about you?
So you can Google Madina Sex Therapist, or you can check me on Instagram. I'm less active these days. It's Madina Relationships Therapist, and on my website www.madinademirbas.com.
Amazing. We are keeping you, but we're going to go over to Business Boost. So in today's Business Boost, I have pulled out some research from KPMG who talk about how to use AI safely, especially when it comes to children using AI. And that already scares me because children are using mobile phones, and that was already a problem, but now it's not just the mobile phone, it's what's on that mobile phone. So what KPMG says is be mindful of sharing personal information. Talk to your children about that and tell them to avoid at least the basics of sharing details like their full name, their address, their phone number, things like that, unless they absolutely trust that platform. And certainly don't go and steal your parents' credit cards and go and put that data in. This is a good one for everybody. Understand the privacy settings. Understand what's being stored, what's not being stored, because some AIs ask, do you want me to keep this as a memory in order to better tailor my responses to you? So really think about that. Take the time to review and adjust those privacy settings on whichever platform you're using. Don't overshare. Remember, in all of our discussion today so far, we've been talking about this. It's a tech company. If you keep that in mind, it's a lot easier not to overshare because you think that's a tech company using your data. Limit the amount of personal information that's also accessible for you. And we've talked about this on the show before. Please do not do those little tests which say things like, oh, you can get your porn name by giving me your mother's maiden name and the street you live on, because those are the bank security questions. So think critically is another one of their points. Also remember that AI can make mistakes. It's not perfect. So always, and this is not just asking children if they're using AI for educational help, but for yourself, check the facts, cross-reference the information, consider different perspectives. AI has been known to hallucinate, that is the term for it, and it has come up with legal cases, which are not legal cases at all, but they're just written like legal cases, and cases have been thrown out of actual court because that was false information. The AI had hallucinated. Also, don't be afraid of reporting inappropriate content. If your AI has said something a bit strange, report it. There's often a report button in the settings. If you notice coming across any offensive or harmful information, also report that, and be very, very cautious of any AI-generated messages. So this comes back to being wary about the emails that we get, the texts that we get. Often, if there's a sense of urgency, if there's a sense of here's a link, go and click it at once, it's likely to be a problem. And always check for things like spelling mistakes and the email address. And the final point from KPMG, don't solely rely on AI. And I think that is the one thing that we all need to hang on to. Just find other means of living your life and use AI only as a tool. What another fascinating show we've recorded. It's just brilliant chatting with you, Madina.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Great topics as well. Now, as we've been talking throughout the show, the thing that's striking me is we are so quick to share with or overshare in places that actually oversharing is really dangerous to us. We undershare in the places where actually we can be making connections. We're capable of doing all the right things. We're doing them in all the wrong places. And a lot of that has to do with those phones, with laptops.
Yeah.
What is wrong with us?
I know.
This is not what we envisioned for ourselves, is it?
Something's kind of just off with society, isn't it? That we're not as we used to be, where we don't make human connections. We don't want to meet in person. I just think that AI came along at a really handy, or the pandemic came along at a really handy time for AI, because one is really heavily impacted on the other, and now we've come out the other side of the pandemic, it's all wrong. It's all going wrong.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
No, it is, and I understand that people are upset. You know, society, the cost of living's gone up, it's difficult to buy a house, all of those things that almost we all took for granted whilst we were growing up. they're not available to people. So I know people are upset and people are sad and they want to be able to vent and they want to be able to talk. But if everyone's in that boat, no, who's listening? And so I think one of the problems is we've created, or we're using this AI to plaster over cracks, and we're almost ignoring the very clear red flag out there, which is going, I'm created to keep you talking to me. I am created specifically to get your information for my benefit.
It's like I would be interested in seeing AI chatbots and AI girlfriend experiences as a painkiller. So what is it, the pain that we're trying to kill in a sense? What are we trying to solve? Because it gives, I think one of the biggest addictive element of it gives very fast solutions. And in the world where everything moves so fast, that's what you want, right?
Quick fix.
Quick fix, quick solution, no headaches. The ability, and with the current situation as well, I don't want to get too much into politics, but with that much amount of instability and so on, our brain just says, okay, we can't control what's going to happen in 20, 30 years, but why don't we have a relationship with it? It's our brain trying to solve this problem.
Trying to make us feel comfortable.
Feel comfortable, more secure, because one of the elements is that of these apps is that they're predictable. You know for sure, unlike your friend who might have PMS or be busy or be looking after her dog, whatever, chatbot is always there. It's predictable, it's non-judgmental, it's listening. Never mind that it's not real, but it feels this need that we have been deprived, we're starving for this.
And it's the way it's programmed to talk to you, because like you say, you can choose the voices and things like that. I think when I speak to ChatGPT, so I got it to write me a fitness plan for my dog who is fat, doesn't like walks, just, he looks like a barrel now. And I was explaining all of this, telling it, this is the situation, this is where it's, and he starts off, ChatGPT starts off, oh, poor little guy, he's been through a lot. And I'm like, what? Oh my goodness, it had that conversation with me. And I was just really,
the
quite a
recent
good plan.
update diminished the level of empathy because of the addictive element to it. But they're coming up with a new update, which I don't want to talk about that. They are thinking of they're not thinking, they're about to implement the erotic chat.
No!
Yes, it's just a matter
Doesn't
of
surprise
time.
me at all.
Yeah. So they would do the age verification and so on and so forth. But not surprisingly.
Something else that struck me as well, because I think when we were chatting, you said something like 34% of males could see the benefit of having in the UK, could see the benefit of having an AI girlfriend or boyfriend. And I just wondered if that ties in, with the whole incel kind of wave that's coming with, because you said that was younger people from 18 to 30 something. Which is the age of that sort of incel. And I wonder, because obviously then males or females, anyone can talk to an AI bot exactly how they want.
Yes.
And they can be disrespectful if they want to be. And it just struck me that perhaps because 34% is a lot of people, a lot of males, isn't it?
And it's like you were saying earlier, it teaches us to become more entitled.
Yes,
I can talk to you how I want, when I want, anytime I want, and you will answer me and be nice.
Yeah, and that's the entitlement.
And I think we need to look earlier into generations, right? How they were raised and why they have a stronger need to get it their way and feeling entitlement to getting it their way. And one of the things that is written very well in the book, An Anxious Generation, is that the children have been deprived of the free, unsupervised play. And this is the core to the development of the social skills. And we can't really blame this generation or say that, why are you so inadequate? Because they didn't have a lot of space to develop these skills in the first place. And we need to create, if possible, right, instead of blaming them for why they're so socially awkward, help them create the spaces where they would actually, it's like a muscle, right? You just, out of a sudden, you're asking somebody to lift 100 kilos, whereas they've never even lifted 1 or 2 each. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we're always being observed by either not us, but our kids are always being observed either by the teachers who are always, and some schools are really strict about it, on how to play, don't touch, don't fight, don't this, don't that, report it to the teacher, right? Rather than sort it out between yourselves. And then the children, till certain age, till at least 12, 13, they are playing usually in front of a parent, or parent being somewhere nearby, and again they would turn to parent to resolve certain conflicts.
Yeah, so that kind
No
of
wonder,
would
yeah. So
explain,
as a natural
Yeah.
consequence of that, they feel more. They might feel more inadequate, depending on the community where they grew up with.
Yeah, and then you feel you turn to an app. It's the same thing. It's a substitute teacher, substitute parent. I'm turning to something else.
Yeah,
to help me
So
because I can't
they
do it
grew up
myself.
anxious and feeling not enough, and AI is there to help with that.
Oh my goodness, we could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
This could be 2 shows very easily. We are out of time, but thank you, Madina.
Thank you so much. I deeply care about this topic. I'm fascinated by it, frightened, but also, I want to raise awareness of us as human beings, as parents, as parts of the society, as members of the society.
So important. And on those very important last words, from all of us here at Mental Health Matters, have a healthy week.